A rattled Pakistan army is showing signs of deep internal turmoil. The Pakistani army is facing an unprecedented wave of resignations and desertion requests. It's being reported that the morale is at its lowest under Pakistani Army Chief Asim Munir's leadership. A classified advisory accessed exclusively by News9 reveals growing fears of a strong Indian retaliation following the dastardly terror attack in Pahalgam, where 26 civilians were killed. The advisory, dated 26th of April and issued by Major General Faiz Mahmood Malik, the Director General of Inter-Services Public Relations, warns all ranks about the surge in resignation and desertion pleas. It clearly attributes the unrest within the Pakistan Army to fears of an all-out war with India. The document further reminds personnel that unauthorized resignations or desertions will invite strict action under the Pakistan Army Act of 1952. In an attempt to stem the panic, military officers in Pakistan have been directed to conduct darbars, uphold the army's oath, and boost troop morale. This points to a power struggle between factions loyal to current Army Chief General Asim Munir and those aligned with former generals Faiz, Hameed and Qamar, Javed, Bajwa. How will Pakistan contain this turmoil as it stares down the barrel of an escalating conflict with India? We have our Executive Editor, Strategic Affairs, Aditya Raj Kaul, now joining us on the broadcast. Aditya, thank you for taking time out to be with us. Now, this is something that possibly could have been expected considering what's going on in Balochistan, considering what's going on in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. It's a weakened Pakistani army already, and at the same time, you have now an imminent retaliation from India.
Absolutely. You know, what's happening in Pakistan is that the Pakistan Army soldiers are unhappy with Asim Munir. There is a lot of dejection. The morale is at its lowest, and that's why there are now reports of massive and mass resignations that are happening across the Pakistan Army soon after the Pahalgam terror attack. As of now, the Pakistan government and the deep state both are in a panic mode. They do not know what will be India's next action. And this also comes at a time when Pakistan has been completely isolated in the last 6 years. It doesn't have many allies. Apart from, China and Turkey, it cannot ask for any kind of a massive, defense build-up or defense cargo from any other country. So as of now, it's completely dependent on, Turkey and China. But the Pakistan Army soldiers are in a similar situation of what happened during the Kargil war in 1999, Krishna. At that particular time, the Pakistan Army had even refused to take the dead bodies or the mortal remains of their own serving soldiers. And for years, several family members of the Pakistan Army soldiers who were martyred during Kargil had to go pillar to post. In fact, I can tell you that even almost 2 decades later, after the Kargil war, families reached out to the Indian government to seek those dead bodies that were buried on Indian soil. And in many cases, those bodies were finally, after even 2 decades, returned to those family members. So this is a big embarrassment for the Pakistan Army. They know if India attacks or India makes a military impact on Pakistan, what the future of Pakistan is like. And at a time when there's an internal rebellion in Balochistan, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, daily there are attacks on Pakistan Army soldiers, you can visualize what the case would be. On the western front, they are completely choco-blocked by Balochistan and of course Khyber Pakhtunkhwa rebels. At the same time, the ties with Afghanistan and Taliban are not good. The TTP is raising havoc across the KPK, and the Pakistan Army does not know how to react to this situation, because this was done to in fact increase the tenure of the Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir, but it does seem like he has embroiled the entire country into almost a war mode. And this also stems from the fact, the panic mode, where Krishna, the family members of Asim Munir have left the country. They have escaped in a private jet to London, and that means that they fear that Pakistan Army senior officers, family members could be targeted.
Well, which means that we're looking at a situation, Aditya, where there could be a coup against Asim Munir.
Well, anything can happen in Pakistan. We have seen at different places in history, even after the Kargil war, how Pervez Musharraf led to that coup in Pakistan. And at this moment, there is another news that is coming up from Pakistan that Nawaz Sharif, the chief of the PMLN, has given an advice to his brother Shahbaz Sharif, who's the Prime Minister of Pakistan, that do not lead the country to the war. Look for an amicable solution, let diplomacy play out, and do peace with India. That also is a growing realization within Pakistan that if there is a scenario of a confrontation or a war, economically or otherwise, Pakistan is not prepared for a sustained war with India. And also at a time when the Western partners of India, especially United States, France, Italy, even Russia and Israel for that matter, are completely supporting, India as of now. So if we compare it to 2016 Uri or 2019 Pulwama, I think India is at a much better situation. Look at the kind of statements that are coming in. More than 15 global leaders have already called the Prime Minister, condemned the Pahalgam terror attack and assured support from their respective governments. We also saw the Director of the National Intelligence in US, Tulsi Gabbard, come out with a very, very strong, unprecedented statement that if India plans to hunt down those terrorists, the US will completely support India. Kash Patel, the FBI chief, has also said and assured that continued US support will remain with India. This also comes just a couple of weeks after Tahabur Rana was extradited to India. So I think as of now, the Western support is not a problem. I would in fact go to the extent of saying that the Muslim world is also supporting India. Saudi, UAE and several other countries are increasingly realizing the dangers of Islamist radicalization and terrorism. They do not want their own countries to be embroiled in this radicalization and will support India both publicly and covertly in this entire exercise against Pakistan-sponsored terror.
Right. As Aditya was telling us, amidst escalations of tensions between India and Pakistan after the Pahalgam terror attacks, PMLN source has said that Nawaz Sharif has cautioned his brother to not, quote unquote, to not mess with India. Those sources also went on to say that Nawaz Sharif has asked his brother, Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, to utilize all available diplomatic resources to restore peace between the two countries. Nawaz gave the advice when Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif on Sunday briefed PMLN President Nawaz Sharif on the decisions taken by the National Security Committee or NSC of Pakistan in that meeting in the wake of the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty by India. Now, meanwhile, Pakistan, as Aditya was telling us, is standing alone in its refusal to condemn the Pahalgam terror attack or even mourn its victims. Now, former Pakistan cricket captain Shahid Afridi made controversial remarks blaming India for the attack instead of condemning terrorism. Speaking to the Pakistani media, Afridi accused India of killing its own people and shifting blame onto Pakistan. He said, even if a cracker bursts, India blames Pakistan.
एक घंटे तक दहशतगर्द वहां दहशतगर्दी करते रहे, ठीक है, वहां तक 8 लाख फौज में से कोई नहीं आया और जब आए तो 10 मिनट के ऊपर पाकिस्तान पे इल्जाम लगा दिया. तो आई मीन कि खुद ही ब्लंडर्स मारते रहते हैं, खुद ही लोगों को मरवा देते हैं, फिर उनकी वीडियोस दिखाते हैं कि नहीं वो तो जिंदा है. तो आई मीन इस तरह का ना करें. हमने हमेशा देखिए दहशतगर्दी आप कोई भी मुल्क कोई भी मजहब सपोर्ट नहीं करता.
Shahid Afridi mocked the Indian Army, questioning how 8 lakh soldiers in Kashmir failed to stop the attack, calling them, quote unquote, useless.
नाका पड़ जाता है वहां पे पाकिस्तान. तुम लोगों की 8 लाख फौज वहां बैठी है यार कश्मीर में और ये इंसिडेंट हो गया. इसका मतलब है नालायक है, निकम्मे हो ना तुम लोग कि सिक्योरिटी आप दे नहीं सके लोगों को.
In its initial first response to the terrible tragedy, India has imposed visa bans and restrictions on Pakistani media and celebrities, leaving many like Afridi rattled, and that has to be kept in mind, isn't it, Aditya? I mean, these ridiculous statements have come simply because they fear already what's coming their way.
You know, Shahid Afridi is a paid propagandist of the Pakistan Army. There is no doubt about it. Years ago, Krishna, with you, I was working in a TV network.
Yep.
And there I had a conversation with Shahid Afridi. I had interviewed him on a phone call. And a similar controversy had broken out at that time also, when Shahid Afridi had done this propaganda on Kashmir for the Pakistan Army as a so-called influencer. So these are paid comments that are coming in. Pakistan, of course, does not have any kind of international influence. That's why it has to go to people like Shahid Afridi and others for this kind of a propaganda. He again blames India for these killings and says that, you have no evidence. How does Shahid Afridi even know that? And I would, in fact, urge the government that you have banned a lot of YouTube channels. Why haven't you banned Shahid Afridi? He does all the, rhetoric and propaganda in support of terrorism in Kashmir and otherwise. So I think it's high time to not just isolate these folks, ignore these folks, but also take firm action and do not provide Indian soil, Indian media or Indian websites, etc. For them to publicize their propaganda against India. It's high time to take action. I'm glad that the government has taken action against hundreds of YouTube channels. The list officially has come out of 16, but I'm told that officially the numbers are in hundreds. And I'm pretty sure that next would be OTT and entertainment channels that are coming in from Pakistan. Why should they earn revenue out of India and use Indian population user base for their own money-making skills when such terrorism is emanating from their soil?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's shocking, isn't it, Aditya, the fact that such a famous international cricketer, just because he's from a particular country, chooses to be the mouthpiece of their army. Anyway, moving on. Stay with us. Days after the terror attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir's Chief Minister Omar Abdullah made a powerful speech in the special session of the State Assembly where he apologized to the relatives of the victims of the Pahalgam terror attacks, sending out a message of condemnation of the massacre. The Chief Minister said that the whole of Kashmir is united against this attack and that this may mark the beginning of the end of terror in the valley. The Chief Minister also said that people voluntarily came out to protest against the terror attack, displaying banners and posters and even raising slogans.
मेरे पास अल्फाज नहीं थे कि मैं क्या कह के उनके घर वालों से माफी मांगूं। ये जानते हुए कि जम्मू कश्मीर की सिक्योरिटी, जम्मू कश्मीर की सुरक्षा, जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों की चुनी हुई हुकूमत की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है, लेकिन तब भी यहां के वजीर आला की हैसियत से, यहां की टूरिज्म के मिनिस्टर की हैसियत से मैंने इन लोगों को दावत दी थी यहां आने की। मेजबान होते हुए मेरी जिम्मेदारी थी कि सही सलामत मैं इन्हें यहां से वापस भेजूं, नहीं भेज पाया। और माफी मांगने के अल्फाज नहीं थे। क्या कहता हूं उनको, उन छोटे बच्चों को जिन्होंने अपने वालिद को खून में लपेटा हुआ देखा।
Now, in a rare show of bonhomie, the BJP has praised Omar Abdullah's response. Leader of the opposition, Sunil Sharma, condemned the terror attack and praised the Chief Minister for calling an all-party meeting and the Assembly Speaker, Abdul Rahim Rathar, for calling a special session. Aditya, it is a difficult time in ways more than one for Jammu and Kashmir, the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And in that context, that response from Omar Abdullah is quite heartening, isn't it?
Well, absolutely, Krishna, no doubts about that. Ever since the 370 abrogation and particularly after Omar Abdullah became the Chief Minister, I think he is making the right kind of statements, particularly against Pakistan-sponsored terror. And when it comes to development of the people and the mindset change in Jammu and Kashmir, he gave a very strong statement today saying that, this is against terrorism and the House condemns this. And he also went on to say that, his politics is so not cheap that he will ask for a statehood restoration at a time of Pahalgam terror attack case. So it's a very strong statement coming in. He has also said that several House members of the J&K Assembly have had their family members also killed by the terrorists. So everybody has that pain and anguish in their mind. And now that this has happened, the House condemns this wholeheartedly. Nobody in Kashmir stands for Pakistan or Pakistan-sponsored terror. And this is also displayed from the fact that over the last 4 or 5 days, there are massive protests that have happened from Baramulla to Srinagar to Anantnag to Shopian, resolving that we stand against Pakistan sponsored terror, and every Indian in Jammu and Kashmir stands with the Indian Army, the security forces, the J&K police to flush out and neutralize these terrorists and also take decisive action against Pakistan.
Aditya Raj Kaul, there, our Executive Editor, Strategic Affairs, joining us for that big story that we're continuing to track here on News9. Thank you, Aditya, for being with us. Now, India signed a landmark agreement to procure 26 Rafale marine fighter jets from France, a deal valued at approximately 63,000 crore rupees. The signing marks a major boost to India's naval aviation capabilities. The deal was signed by the defense ministers of both the countries, Defense Secretary of India, Rajesh Kumar Singh, and France's Ambassador, Thierry Martou, presided over the ceremony in Delhi. The Cabinet Committee on Security, chaired by Prime Minister Modi, gave its final approval in early April for the procurement of these Rafale M jets. The Navy's Rafale M package includes 22 single-seater carrier-compatible jets and 4 twin-seater trainers. Deliveries are scheduled to start by 2028-29 and they will be completed by 2031-32. The Rafale M jets will operate from India's 2 aircraft carriers, INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya, replacing the aging MiG-29K fleet.